I would like to introduce our speakers here today. Bloomington Internship Program is what we are here to learn about. Warsan Artan, the Bloomington Program Facilitator. She's a dedicated advocate for community development, youth empowerment, and equitable policy change. She got her Master's of Public Policy at UC San Diego's School of Global Policy and Strategy. She was a member of Interact in high school and a member of Rotary at San Diego State. So I think we should afterwards ask her if she'd like to join Bloomington Rotary. Also presenting is Isela Mendiola, who is an intern with the City of Bloomington through the Bloomington Program and now works as an office support specialist in the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging at the city. And she was born and raised here in Bloomington, so I think she also would like to join Bloomington Rotary. No pressure. But without further ado, if you'd like to come on up and present, we would appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. We are here to present on the Bloomington Internship Program. Yeah, my name is Warsan. I am the Bloomington Program Facilitator at the City of Bloomington.
And I'm Isela Mendiola. I work in the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging as an office support specialist, and I was a former Bloom participant.
Then I'm going to just move over. Okay. All right, so before we start, we wanted to play a quick video for you all. This is from 2023 cohort.
Everyone is so willing to teach and work with you and introduce you to new opportunities, and it's just such a positive space to be a part of.
It's a very insightful program, and it's something that really is like such an eye-opener. I believe internship programs can really help youth reach their full potential.
Bloomington, it looked so fun. It's in the city. The internship did a really good job of having a 16 to 18 and then 18 to 24, so there's like something appropriate for both age groups.
I'm an HR, IT, and accounting intern here at the Mall of America.
With the mall, they were super welcoming, and they're like, what do you want to do? What do you want to get out of this internship? What skills do you want to build?
I am a summer intern working often in the real estate and land use department.
Right now I'm under the term called floating intern, so I'm working in all the different departments of the Bloomington city and getting experience with what every part or function does for the city.
I'm working with the assessing division this summer as an intern.
I'm working in the administration department in sustainability.
I am one of the Bloomington interns this summer in the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging.
I help orient new hires and help train them in through HR. I help take support tickets.
I've been having so much fun, mostly planning events.
I've worked on the Just Deeds project, which is a project that is aiming to remove racial covenants in deeds.
I am currently going into my senior year of high school. I attend Thomas Jefferson High School. I want to be a political journalist, so I want to know more about the government.
I've been shadowing the appraisers as they go out on the residential inspections for quintile. I've been scanning paper files to digital.
It's been a lot of research projects and just meeting a lot of people and learning a lot.
One of my bigger projects this summer is to develop a civic engagement program for youth here in Bloomington. I also help out with smaller projects, Juneteenth, and other equity-driven initiatives within the city as well.
I know it's scary, but introducing yourself to people can open doors that you never thought would be open for you.
And I just love the fact that I'm working within my community, which is so amazing. Living in Bloomington and working in Bloomington is perfect.
This internship has given me the opportunity to see that there is a bigger world out there. There are active people in this office that are doing something impactful in their communities.
I could just blossom here.
Well, that's under our presentation. They tell you all about the program. I'm just kidding. So yeah, what is the Bloomington program? The Bloomington program matches young people between the ages of 16 and 24 with local employers. That includes both city department and our external partners. And depending on if you are in high school or in college, either you do an 8-week program or a 12-week program. And in addition to getting a paid summer internship, we also do a bi-weekly leadership development session. So they get to learn how to build their resume, how to, public speaking, amongst other skills that I feel like we need for, for the rest of our lives. I think the way we see it is this is almost a stepping stone for young people who otherwise would not have access to these industries. And this year, our goal is to match 30 interns. And even though this little thing's blocking it, some of our partners are on here. I just wanted to highlight some of our external partners on this slide. But yeah, next slide. And you will see the program mission and vision on here. But first, I wanted to start with our city vision. The city's mission is to cultivate an enduring and remarkable community where people want to be. And we believe in accomplishing that, that when diversity is embraced, the community is strengthened, and everyone benefits from an equitable access to opportunity. So I think in creating the program like this is a realization of our city mission and our beliefs. So what we're trying to accomplish is creating an equitable, accessible, diverse workforce by exposing young people to opportunities from early on. And in other words, relating it to Rotary, we're asking, is our workforce fair to all concerned? Is it accessible to all concerned? Okay, and then Isela.
So as you all saw in the video, I was part of the 2023 cohort, and now I'm full-time, so I was able to continue on with my work in the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. And as mentioned previously as well, I've lived in Bloomington my whole life, and I wasn't exposed to careers in government. So Bloomington really allowed me to discover what government is and what it entails. And within my internship experience, I was able to get a lot of opportunities that I thought I would never experience before, such as presenting to City Council and presenting on a program that I built for youth to become more civically engaged. And also I was part of a radio show to talk about the Driver's License for All bill. And then, as mentioned previously, I was able to stay on full-time, and I started in January 2024. And I continue to support with Bloomington, which has changed my life. It's very life-changing, so I'm really happy that youth continue to have this opportunity and get to blossom in Bloomington.
Next slide. Yeah, so in addition to Isela giving her own experience, talking about her own experience, we also wanted to add some intern testimonials. One of the interns said that their favorite part was the networking, and I think that is, again, one of the goals of the program is to expose young people to different industries, and we're encouraging supervisors to let their interns shadow people from their own department, other departments as well. In addition to that, another intern mentioned the bond they were able to form with their cohort. And again, that's, I think, part of the leadership development sessions. Every other Friday, they get to see each other, you know, hang out, be in community, but also gain leadership experience in the meantime. And last but not least, somebody else talked about how it was a great industry to the workforce. And I think that is, again, the core of this internship opportunity is young people who otherwise wouldn't have access to, like, you know, like to work in an IT office or in a law office and so on and so forth are getting this exposure. And yes, so moving forward, we definitely want to expand our program, especially when it comes to external partners. As you can see in the little chart at the bottom, we have a lot of demand, a high demand. The applications for this year have been open for about 3 weeks. They opened on January 21st, but we have had over 70 applicants so far, and we only have 28 spots at the moment. So we would love to expand our network and our employers. In addition to that, there is a diverse number of career interests. For example, healthcare being one of them. I was just recently at Kennedy, and the students would come up to me. They were like, "I want to go to college and I want to start nursing or, you know, some other field in the healthcare industry." But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of partners in that field. Same with technology, engineering, and so on. So we're trying to expand our employers, but also the diversity in the opportunities that we provide. Last but not least, an obstacle that our interns constantly face that comes up is transportation. And being able to go to work. They want to work, they are eager to work, but transportation is definitely a barrier. And I can definitely relate to this. When I think I was like the summer before I started college, I worked at SeaWorld. I'm from San Diego. And I would take a bus, a trolley, and another bus to get to work. So I would leave home 6 a.m. in the morning. It was a fun time. But I can definitely relate to the transportation barrier, because a lot of families may have one car or two cars and the two parents use it and so on. So that's definitely a barrier. Next slide. Yeah, so I see this as a community-wide effort. It's not just a city effort, but also our external partners are huge in making this happen. But also, I think this is a community-wide effort that includes the Rotary. So how can you help? Your networks, you all are incredible professionals who excel in your fields. So the connections and the network that you can provide, I think, is invaluable. And that is our presentation. Thank you so much. We'd love to take any questions that you have.
Maybe we'll start here. You remember me, I remember when you guys launched this, but there are paid internships, right? So the person providing the internship pays them, and is there a set hourly wage?
Yes, so for the high school students, so the 16 to 18 age category, they get paid $15 an hour. And then for the college students, $20 an hour.
And what's the expectation for how many hours they work?
Oh, that's a great question, yes. When the employers submit their application, we ask them to specify how many hours they want their intern to work. So anything from 24 hours a week to 40 hours a week, that's the span we give. And the same on the intern end. When they submit their application, they also identify how many hours they're willing to work per week. And we want to match, an intern that has more time over the summer, if they want to work 40 hours, and then an employer is looking for that. We want to properly match that.
I'd like you to talk about how students in our community, whether they're high school students or college students, can become engaged in the community through volunteer opportunities. I'm going to use Isela, which she won't love that I'm pointing this out. But she became a volunteer while she was attending St. Catherine University in our Homework Connection program. That led to a part-time job with Bloomington Schools. It then led to another part-time job. She actually worked for me. That's how I know all this information. And before she came to work for the city. And during that time, she went through the first internship cohort. But I think, and maybe Isela, you can talk about your volunteer work that you did with Normandale Community College, for example, and with the school district, and how students can use their volunteer work to help launch them into another step, possibly into an internship like this.
Yeah, I think the main topic here is networking and building your connections and continuing those relationships. I also knew my previous supervisor from high school, so I was able to come back through this program and intern for her. So just, I guess, building that community based with people you're meeting around at school, at your job, through internship programs. I would highly, highly recommend this program for that networking piece, but also as leaders, expanding that opportunity for students as well, and being more involved as a Rotary Club would be something I would highly recommend as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's the connections that these young people build. But I also see this internship as a starting point as well. That's why we don't ask for a lot of requirements. We just ask for commitment and that they're maybe interested in exploring whatever industry they're placed in. An example that I can think of is there was a young person who was with the Port Authority last year, and we just found out that he got an internship with the engineering department this summer at the city, and that's what he was interested in. He wanted to go into engineering, and I think he was able to build those networks by being within the city. Any other questions? questions. Yes.
Yeah, one comment, I guess, on all the presentations today is that I was reading in the Wall Street Journal last week. They were talking about, finding jobs, and they really stressed that while there were these ghost jobs, people posted that they really never fill and stuff, and all these internet ones where you submit your resume and you don't hear anything for years, and they just showed just how much more important it was, the networking really, to finding a successful placement in something of your interest than all the computers and all the matching services that you pay money for in the world. And it also tied in, I think, a little bit with the establishment of the Rotary Club, is that as you go from the high school student and the college student opportunities, to continue that networking through some kind of community-based organization, including ones that are organized around service, but you still end up, at least by experience, by a first law firm, I saw all the people in St. Paul, the kind of business leaders who had known each other in the St. Paul JCs, and they had worked together on projects as volunteers when they were young, but then when they all started getting into positions of more authority, they would bring in other people for the right jobs at their positions, or they'd interact, sit down at lunch together, all that. So I think the networking part that you're stressing is something that is a continuum from the high school days all the way through your young adult professionalism that'll be of great benefit.
Great. Any other questions?
What kind of backgrounds and experience do interns typically bring to the jobs?
Yeah, so it can range from no experience to some experience. And the reason why we do that is we're recognizing that some of these interns are in high school. This might be their first internship. But also some of our employers, for example, might be looking for a college student who is studying, I don't know, like a tech-related field. And for that reason, we ask them to rate, do you have any experience? Do you have some experience? And so on and so forth. So we do ask that on the application, and we ask them to submit their resume as well.
You speak very quickly. And so
I'm sorry.
Words, and I'm one of the older people. But the rate per hour that you're giving the students, high school students, it sounded like you said 50.
15, yes.
Yeah, you need to slow down.
Thank you. When I get nervous, I do speak fast. Thank you. Any other questions?
It's really more of a comment. One of the things I think that's changed since I was your age and older was we used to be volunteered to participate in things, and that's not happening to the same degree anymore. What information or what advice can you give us about how we can get the younger generation more active and interested in really becoming involved in these things, whether it's politics or city stuff or whatever? I mean, somehow we just need to encourage more young people to take the lead and become involved. I mean, your experience with schools and everything is wonderful and stuff. So, any thoughts or comments for us?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think that there are two things that come to mind off the top of my head. Young people are on social media. So if I don't know if Rotary has a social media like Instagram page, or I think that's one way to reach young people. But also, for example, in promoting this program, Isela and I recently went to Normandale College Trio program. I tabled a lunch at the two high schools here. So just meeting young people where they are at. But if you're trying to do it virtually, I think social media is a big one. Yes.
Do you ask the employers, external particularly, to submit some kind of work plan, what it is that the intern will be doing? And then is there reporting that should go back to your organization on performance or anything like that?
Sorry, can you repeat the second part?
And then while the intern is working there, is there reporting that your organization wants from the employer?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. Yes and yes. Like, for example, first of all, I'm new to the role. I started recently, but one thing I'm planning to do is to do like a midpoint in the internship, do a midpoint check-in with the employers just to see how the intern's doing. But also I'm their point person for other cities. So if they need any support, if they're having any difficulties with the intern, I'm there to support as well. But yes, employers also receive an orientation at the beginning as to how to support your intern, how to make sure they have a list of expectations, give them an independent project perhaps if you might not be in office, for example, and something for the interns to own and take ownership of while they're with you and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of support for the employers on our end.
Can I pipe in? Yes. Sure. Warsan she's only been here for a month, so we're really, I don't know if this is being, thank you for doing this presentation. That's amazing.
Yeah, I joined, and Holly was like, do you want to do a presentation?
I mean, she was a Rotary member. I can't compete with that. So the employers that we're working with externally do submit a job description. We talk to them a few times ahead of time to talk about what they might be able to offer to an intern, because it's a little bit of an art to create an internship that is going to be valuable to the student, but is also not going to be too much of a burden on the employer. So they all submit descriptions after we talk to them, and we make sure that the internship is going to be age appropriate, have some sort of usefulness to it, and that the students will be able to walk away with saying, I did a project or I worked on this. So that's generally how we do it with them. Some have very set plans that they do already. Seagate is an employer that we're working with. They specifically want to work with high school students so they can recruit them into the semiconductor manufacturing field. You don't need a college degree for that. It's more about training technicians. And so they have a very specific set schedule and set of skills that they want to do. Other ones it'll be a little bit more open. Wilderness Inquiry is actually going to have students in their warehouse packing for trips, and I think they'll get to go on some of these outdoor trips with the group. So there's a wide variety of opportunities, but there's always more interest than we have opportunities for.
Any other questions? If not, thank you all so much for having us.